Hi, Andrew. Thank you so much for joining us on Black Ink Cinema podcast.
I'm all good, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be on here and knowing who you are as well.
It's really nice. It's funny because we obviously worked together and I did not know for a very long time that you did stand-up and that you're a comedian. And so when Adam, said that, we've got Andrew, and I was like, Andrew Mensah, I was very shocked but impressed and happy.
Pleasant surprise. I'm here now. Let's talk.
So you obviously do a bit of presenting for BT Sport, which you are ace at and I absolutely love.
Oh, thank you. You're making me blush. Chill.
Come on. You know you are.
I started at BT as an apprentice, innit? So I just kind of worked way up. And if I'm honest, like, what I wore kind of fell into my lap sort of thing.
Which is such a good show. I bloody love it.
Yeah, it just kind of fell into my lap and then I just got other opportunities. Now, basically, like most things I do is mostly just presenting to, which is good.
Yeah, exactly. Is that one of the what I wore tops, I see?
Yeah, so basically how it runs, obviously, like the shirts, like, like after each show, I just pick out a few, be like, yo, let me get that.
You just nab it at the end. You're like, just take this one.
That one, please.
I'm not gonna lie. If you get any nice Arsenal merch, please send it.
Arsenal, yeah. Don't worry. Let me. I'll put you on my list. Don't worry, I got you.
Imagine you've got a list.
Don't worry, I got you. Arsenal, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, say nothing.
I'm a gooner that is in pain, but yeah. So that is.
So all you gooners have been in pain for like the last 10 years. Keep it
For a minute now. We're used to it.
I've always wanted to do stand-up, yeah? Because obviously I've always thought I was slightly funny, innit? But you never know until you step on the stage, innit? But I think I started in like, my first gig must have been like 2018. And I was doing it here and there. And then like, when I got what I wore, that next year, 2019, is when I like started taking it serious and started doing like gigging most nights and stuff.
Cool.
So that last year and this year have been like a real progressive year. There's like a place called the Cavendish Arms in Stockwell. They do like a summer competition. And last year, so basically if you win the summer competition, you get to go there for I think it's like for a year. And you just get to get any spot that they have on. And I won that competition in the summer.
Well done.
So thank you. Obviously, it's like a little humble brag there. But, so I won the competition in summer. I got a spot there like whenever I want. And then where I live in Greenwich, innit? So that's up the creek. It's just down the road from my house. And they have like a night on a Thursday that I just kept going to. Yeah. And the guy that runs it kind of took a liking to me. And then been performing there quite a lot. And then that's how basically my agents got basically saw me there, innit? And then I basically ended up signing with Hannah Layton from there. So probably those two, like up the creek and Cavendish Arms, probably two places I'm at the most. And then there's other places like Vauxhall and then before you know you're doing a gig in Loughborough. You know what I'm saying? All over the place.
And I've been saying like once all of this like goes back to normal, I'd love to come and see you. I love comedy shows for sure.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Where do you kind of see your career steering towards? Like, would you try out acting or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely want to get into like scripted stuff. Like I'm writing like sitcoms and stuff. I've had built a good relationship. Like a few people at the BBC have seen me perform and they kind of like helping me out with like scripts and stuff, which is definitely like I see as an end goal. Obviously touring as well as doing stand up, but then also doing stuff around football, whether it's like review shows and like football shows and stuff like that. So just kind of like, I think the key for me is to kind of mesh football and comedy. Yeah. It's like I'm on like a credible platform being at BT. Yeah. And then it's just like an easy no-brainer sort of thing.
Of course. So we're here to celebrate Black cinema and you chose a top 5 starring Rosario Dawson and Chris Rock, who also wrote and directed it. Yeah, did you pick this movie because of the comedy aspect?
Do you know what it is, yeah? Chris was my favourite comedian, innit? Okay. But he's never really been like that sick in movies. You know what I mean? Like he's had a few he's had like good parts and stuff like in Grown Ups and different films like that. But he's never had like a lead movie where I thought was like real sick. Like, you know, like Eddie Murphy, you've got like Beverly Hills Cop or Coming to America, or Kevin Hart's got like an array of movies, Think Like a Man, whatever. But Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock, I thought that their movie game wasn't all that in it. But then when he dropped this, I was like, yes, finally, there's a movie that matches like his stand-up sort of thing. And where he did it around comedy as well, I just thought it was so sick. Like,
Yeah.
and it's just a sick concept, like top 5. Everyone's got a top 5 in any aspect. So I just thought it was a sick concept to have. But yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Like, it's just such a good watch, so intriguing, so many like different underlayers and tones of different like human aspects. But it was just all around comedy and all around, and it kind of just felt natural. Do you know what I mean? It didn't feel like he was doing something else. It just felt like he was playing himself.
That's a talent that Chris Rock does have. Like, everything that he does, all his characters kind of just feel a little bit just like him, but it's quite natural. And maybe a bit of it is improvised, like just a little bit, because it comes off so natural.
It feels effortless, isn't it? In the way it flows and stuff. Yeah.
So obviously, being a fan of Chris Rock, and I presume he's an inspiration to you, where do you kind of rank this in his like top 5 filmographies?
That's a good. Do you count his specials as films? Yeah, because if we're doing that,
I don't know if that's fair. That's cheating, surely.
If that's not the stand up. This is his best film, hands down.
Okay.
Hands down. Not even close. Like, you can count CB4, but really, this is the best film, man.
Yeah, I quite like the one with Anthony Hopkins. But that's just like a guilty pleasure of mine.
Really? Yeah, that's definitely a guilty pleasure.
It's a guilty pleasure. It's not like something I'm going to be like, it's not like Bad Boys. You get what I'm trying to say? It's just something cute and light and fun to kind of watch.
That's what you're slapping on. Yeah. But I think, that's definitely the movie. Like, obviously, he's in like great movies.
Yeah,
he's in New Jack City. He's in a new season of Fargo.
Yes.
But I felt like this was like the first like Chris Rock movie that I watched, and I thought, this is actually hard. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, because you know them ones that there's other films I think is sick, but it's because I'm standing in it. It's like I can't really tell the man to be, watch this film. I know
of course you can. Say it with your chest.
But top 5, I can say this with my chest. This film is hard, sort of thing. Yeah.
So at the beginning of the film, Chris and Rosario are talking about the analogy of Planet of the Apes and how that's about race. Did you see it that deep, or when you're watching Planet of the Apes, or did you think it's just for entertainment? It's not that deep.
Nah, man. I'm kind of with her in the movie, where she's like, a movie can just be a movie. Like, my own mentality, if anything I watch or intake, it's got to be the thing first.
Yes.
So like, and I feel like people try and put messages and their agendas before the thing they're doing. So like a guy will be on stage, like a comedian will be on stage getting his agenda across before being funny. And I don't think it works that way, innit? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So it's like, I like it when, this is a great movie, but it's also got messages in it.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I didn't take Planet of the Apes like that. I just thought, this is a fantasy movie about monkeys riding horses and stuff. Like, I didn't take it as, you know what I'm saying? I don't, because I feel like in a way to do that, it kind of lessens us, if that makes sense. Like, looking at us in that kind of way.
It kind of simplifies the whole thing.
Yeah. And I feel like it simplifies Black people's, our makeup and our concept, is just to be like, these guys are just from this area and they're trying to separate from human beings. And it's like, it almost adds to that separation that we're trying to fight all our lives, sort of thing, isn't it? So I didn't really take it like that. I just took it like, this is a movie about monkeys having an army, and that. It's just like, it's just,
I kind of felt like I couldn't take it like that, because then I wouldn't be able to enjoy the movie.
Right.
I really enjoy Planet of the Apes. Like, I love a fantasy sci-fi movie, and I feel like if I look at it too deep in that way, then I just won't be able to enjoy it. So
and that's another thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not watching a movie. Like, if I want to get deep in issues, I'm gonna watch a Martin Luther King speech. I'm not gonna watch Planet of the Apes. I'm trying to enjoy a movie, and if there's undertones in there, I'm with it. But if it's like that's the driving force of the movie, kind of just feels weird to me.
Although saying that, some films do get it right and you can still enjoy it, like Avatar. Avatar is like a whole analogy of just like what's been going on in the world. But you're still able to enjoy it and just kind of lose yourself in it. So I think they've done that quite well.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a talent to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm trying to say? To get to kind of put you in a world that you're immersed in the world. I feel like Black Panther did that so sick as well.
Oh yeah.
It's like you're immersed in the world of superhero, but it's also so many messages and tones that it doesn't feel forced. Because a lot of these things can just feel in your face, and it's just like
when it's in your face, and too kind of like it's you're getting told off or supposed to.
It's like you're getting preached to.
Yeah, no one likes.
I feel like that's detriment because again that turns people away.
Yes, exactly. Whereas when you do it subliminally, like people just take it in without realizing.
Take it in, yeah, exactly.
Another thing they do highlight in top 5 is alcohol abuse, substance abuse, not in a telling off way as well, like shoving it down your throat. But obviously he's an alcoholic and he's going through his thing, but it's just part of his character and part of his story. And I quite like that as well, because especially I think in the community, we don't really talk about substance abuse.
It's a big thing, definitely, yeah. But my best friend died because of substance abuse.
No way.
It was like that's like a couple of years ago, like 2018 when I started stand up.
No
and it was
way.
It was a mad scenario. It was like all young and stuff like. Obviously, when you think of like alcoholism, you're thinking of like a guy that's on a park bench that's like 60 plus years old. But it was like young kids sort of thing, and that scenario made me like open up, like like this is actually a big issue in our community sort of thing. And the way they did it in top 5, I thought was cool because it was like they constantly showed you throughout the movie how many scenarios you can be in that where it's like a constant battle. Yeah, a lot of people don't get that. Like just going to a shop and they got that whole alcohol section. You're saying to yourself like, "Yo," or the bit where he goes to visit his friends, he's in his old hood, and it's like a bottle like trapped in the heater.
Yes,
he picks it up and it's like, yo, he's like smelling it, and it's like, yo, that just like that. He just gone. Imagine going to take a phone call in the bathroom.
Yeah,
and you got to fight a temptation. So it's just like a constant thing, and then also how easy it was to like get roped back into it. Because I think at the film he was like 4 years sober.
Yeah,
and then it was just so easy for him to drink again when he was like in the shop and he just started picking up a load of bottles. It's like. It's like a constant fight that someone has to have constantly, which is like with any addiction. But where alcohol, I think that alcohol is a very dangerous one because it's so socially accepted, and celebrated almost. You know what I'm trying to say?
It's not a taboo. And then what I liked is that scene when he was like, it's easier to take it than have to explain why I don't want to take it. And that kind of like broke my heart a little bit because it's like he felt the pressure to just do it so he doesn't have to deal with the more questions. And
obviously it's like, it's definitely in like, it's also a cool thing as well, isn't it? Like to go out, to drink and to like, but you don't actually understand like a lot of people are dealing with that as an issue sort of thing. And it was just like how many places that he has to go. If he goes literally anywhere outside of his house, almost he has to deal with that temptation. And that's one thing I learned through my friend passing was like, yo, like I just thought, he's going through a phase or whatever, but he's like constantly having to deal with that every day, and people are around him like drinking magnums, and they're fine, but we don't know that how that affects him.
I'm
sort of thing.
So sorry, especially it's a young person, like that's heartbreaking.
But it was heartbreaking, like definitely the toughest time in my life. But it's also been so eye opening to like having a bit more compassion, especially towards alcohol as well. And
like you said, because it is it's legal, it's everywhere, people don't quite, I don't know, maybe comprehend that it might be difficult for people who find it more difficult to say no or to keep something like that under control.
Definitely. And also I think, where like a lot of like people like us, we come from like, council estates and hard times. A lot of the times, alcohol is an easy escape from those problems.
People rely on it.
It's very easy. You can get alcohol cheap. Yeah, I'm trying to say there doesn't take much to get it going. And people go through a lot of like traumatic experiences, whether it is through like financially or through in their home, and it's just another way to escape. And it's not looked at as a problem. Yeah. So where it's not looked at taboo, it's like you don't even have to hide the fact that you're escaping. Do you know what I'm trying to say? You don't even have to hide. Like if my friend was doing cocaine, oh, we would have sorted that out earlier because it's like, no, bro, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Whereas alcohol and we're at a party and it's like everyone's fine and everyone's talking about their hangover the next day. It's like, it didn't really hit as much. But it just shows like through like a lot of experiences and through a lot of different times. So which one thing was deep in the movie was like, I don't feel funny because every time I was funny, I was like, I was drunk or high. Yeah. And it was like, that was deep because it was like, yeah, like some people, like, you don't even know, like some people are going through certain things and they don't feel themselves unless they're under alcohol influence. So that was a bit crazy.
And they've learned to just make it part of their everyday life.
Yeah.
And
like, there's so many like functioning. Yeah,
exactly. Whew. Sorry, that like you threw me. I was not expecting you to say that.
That got deep, innit?
That got deep real quick.
For a comedy movie, that got kind of deep.
Andrew, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that is. But like you said, it's an eye opener. You know, when you see someone close to you go through something like that, there's nothing more eye opening.
Yeah, 100%.
Reminds you of how fragile life is, and kind of to appreciate it, and kind of, you know, it can happen to anyone. You know, you're not you have a shield of like a barrier protecting us. So just kind of take care. The film also, there's not a lot of films, but the film also spans over like a very long 24 hours. Like it feels. It starts off pretty early in the day and then goes into the following day. I don't really see a point where anyone goes to sleep.
Just seems like a long old day, innit? Yeah.
On the show discussed a few other 24-hour films like Do the Right Thing and
Training Day is one of them, I swear.
Training Day, yeah, exactly. So this goes in there, which is quite cool. I think when you do that, you're able to
explore a bit more.
Yeah, and fit in quite a bit. Gabrielle Union plays the reality TV star who I'm guessing is kind of loosely based on Kim, which is funny because obviously this was co-produced by Jay and Kanye. So that must have been a little bit orcs.
yeah, for real.
Especially when she says she doesn't have anything else. Like
she doesn't have a talent or anything. Yeah, I thought that was kind of deep. That like not deep, but like I really enjoyed her character.
Yeah, same.
Because her character was like, it was a poster child for like the celebrity world or like the social media world. It was like she embodied all of that. Yeah, she embodied that character, and it was crazy. Like on how, because that's another thing. Like that's also an addiction on like how, because he was even saying to her like you're addicted. Like listen to you, like you're addicted to this, and it was like. And I feel like that's another thing where it's like, yo, like everything was for the cameras.
And it's like everything's for sale. And it's
everything's
like
for sale, which is crazy.
Are you willing to give of yourself in order to get these like, I don't know, followers and exactly. And likes and stuff. So it's another metaphor and kind of it represents, especially now, the time and age that we live in now, everything is about perception and how it appears. And she was just like, do this for me. I need this. And you could see it was just like a fiend. It was like a fiend who needs the next shot. So
yeah. It's mad how like I was watching one of my favorite comedians, Andrew Schultz, had a line about that. It's basically like how like the world, basically the biggest currency today is clout, and like how like you could literally like use your celebrity to almost do anything. Do you know what I mean? Like the Trump is the president because of his celebrity. Do you know, that's mad. That's actually crazy. Like it's all clout. Or like Tekashi 6ix9ine was the biggest rapper because he just had clout. He's just able to garner attention, and it's almost like he kind of flipped it because he kind of blamed us because it's like we're a society that demands to be entertained every minute of the day for free. And it was a thing of like, yo, that's actually true. And it's like he had a line where he said, when you want a circus, you exalt the clowns. And I feel like this era of where we're living in, social media has like got so many positives, so many ways like you can connect with people and stay in touch with people. So many people have been able to like, it's kind of killed like the gatekeepers, for example. Like in industries and stuff like that. But it's also kind of made people fiend for attention. And a lot of the times we don't get the best people for the job. We just get the people who garner the most attention. And it was just like, one thing she said that was kind of deep was like, you have to choose me. So it's like, if he doesn't choose her, if he doesn't marry her, then it's like, we'll just disregard her. But because he has a certain status, he has to choose her, which kind of makes her her. And I feel like a lot of people are kind of suffering through that. Yeah. I wouldn't say suffering. It's more like kind of feeling for a way, because I feel like celebrity is the biggest class now.
Yes.
It isn't like back in the day where it was kings and queens and monarchy who we look to. Like, I don't think anybody my age younger even cares about the queen and that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? We care about, that guy's popping. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That guy's got status like that. And status comes through celebrity. And what social media has made it that anyone could be it.
You don't need a talent.
You don't need a talent. You don't need to do anything.
You don't need to sing, like, I don't know, rap, act. Yeah. Now you've kind of, those are secondary. If you can do that, then it's like, well done. But you can kind of be mediocre. And as long as you have like a likability to influence a massive group of people, then you're kind of winning.
Yeah. And a lot of the times, like, I feel like the word influence is the wrong word, because like, I feel like Dave Chappelle is an influencer. I feel like real influencers don't say they're influencers.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Like, they really influence. And I feel like those people are just able to get eyes on them. And like, it could be through anything. It could be like taking half naked pictures. It could be like trolling, like doing pranks on people that are kind of dangerous. It could be anything. It could be just saying like the most outlandish stuff. And you're just able to, like, a lot of the stuff I watch on social media is just like, it's not like I would want to support those people. It's just like, oh yeah, this is wild. Like, have you not seen this sort of thing? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, oh yeah, this guy just jumped off this building and landed somewhere. It's just like a lot of wild stuff. And the people I'm not sure I feel like soon that will be considered a talent. Just how can I get attention on? Yeah, how can I get attention? People to tune in on me, and the world is kind of set up. It's kind of set up in that way now. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So like, people are constantly thinking of like, how can I just get clicks? And like, her character, Gary Reunions' character, just kind of like epitomized all of that. Like, when she changed the rings, when she said to him, can we just go back in the car? And he's like, if you can kiss me back in the car. And she's like, if it doesn't happen on camera, it doesn't happen. It's like, what? Yeah. Like, that's mad if you think that.
Yeah, but imagine living that life. Like, everything needs to be recorded and documented. But that's like, crazy. I call that the Instagram life. There's a lot of people that are portraying happy lives. And
yeah, not really. I was there. Yeah, I know. I know it wasn't.
I literally took that picture.
Yeah.
I know the background story.
It's mad. Like, I was watching like I was on Twitter, and like someone like posted like something from Made in Chelsea, innit? There's like some girl crying about like her boyfriend that was about to leave her. Yeah, and honestly, I was dying laughing, innit? Dying laughing, and I turned and I said, "Yo, like, don't you think it's mad how like I'm laughing at someone's like real situation, but because it's on television, like I'm genuinely like on the floor laughing at how the girl was crying, and I'm like, yo, this is actually her life.
Yeah,
this is not.
You know what? I'm a little bit guilty of that. Someone, it was on like the Shade Borough or something like that, and this guy's basically snapping about why this girl's just kind of airing him. I don't know, you might have seen it as well. And he's having a right meltdown. And it was just like, for me as well, as a girl, I'm not used to seeing guys having a whole mental breakdown over a girl. So it was a revelation. I was like, oh, this is a nice change. Yeah. Like, but I was like, what's happening? Has no one told him?
That, yo, chill. No, you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, but chill.
Between the WhatsApp group, like, it doesn't need to be making the rounds out there.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's mad how like that will garner so much attention, and that would get someone on a platform just because he had a meltdown. Like, I was watching like the guy that got what's that? Why You Coming Fast guy. It's just like, yo, like this guy just got a boohoo man deal because someone, you know what I'm saying? Because you just went mad. But
mad.
The danger with that, is it goes up and down. So like, even at the end of the movie when he's obviously not going to marry her, it's like, her world's going to crash right down.
Yes.
Which is so crazy how fickle that is.
Yes, exactly. And in a blink of an eye, kind of in a day, he changed his mind about her when he kind of starts off saying that she kind of saved his life and she helped him get clean. And within a day, he's able to be like, meh.
Nah. And just like that, your life is kind of almost done.
Yeah.
So it was like I took from that, like you have to kind of be secure in yourself.
Yes.
Like, regardless of what happens, if you get fired, if your girlfriend leaves you, if your social media account like deletes, like you're actually good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Which is actually very hard to be. Like, it's very hard just to be. It's
self-love, without sounding as corny as hell, but self-love is like the most important thing, because it's hard
to be just cool with yourself. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I feel like in life, like we all trying things. Like, I know me as a comedian, I'm on stage because I have like a weird sense of a need for attention. I know that. And it's like kind of like trying to fight that and trying to be cool with just being you, being regular sort of thing. And through social media, it's just like, it's like sometimes you seeing a guy on holiday and he's in Bora Bora, 2 rollies on his wrist, and girls everywhere, and you're just in your cubicle, like, like this is life. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So that constant bombardness, kind of like, whereas like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if you saw someone who was a celeb, if you saw Eddie Murphy as a big superstar, you understand, like, this guy is he's one of the greatest. Like, I understand, like, his fame and his he's put in enough work and enough like talent, and he's given enough to the world to gain that. Whereas like now, like, you could just literally tell some people got like 1 million followers, and I'm just like, what? Like, you just took off your bra. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Especially when people are celebrated for nothing. So it encourages that behavior to keep continuing and to go down generations.
Definitely, yeah.
One of the criticisms I would say about the movie was obviously towards the end when he finds his mojo and he gets on stage sober and he does a wicked set, like polished. It's on point, like he hits every joke. And I just thought, for someone who had a big speech about the only time he's been on stage and been successful is when he's been drunk and whatnot, so he doesn't know how to do it sober, he did that so like effortlessly. And I thought maybe there should have been a few stumbles towards the beginning, and then he
kind of found his mojo.
Yeah, then he settles into a rhythm, because you didn't then feel like this was such a big like crescendo moment. It just felt like, I do this all the time. I've got this in the bag.
But do you not feel that's the illusion that he can't do it drunk is an illusion?
Yeah. And
like, it's not actually real.
Yeah.
That he has to be drunk to do it.
Or maybe it's something he told himself, or he's been.
Yeah, and I thought like a lot of that times it's like we tell ourselves, because like I look at life, like fear is like, like the Wizard of Oz, when like,
he went and brought the Wizard of Oz. Go for it.
Yeah, the Wizard of Oz, and then when they get to the end and they pull the curtain, it's just a small Donny that's causing all the aggro. That's what that's what your fear is, really. It's like we tell ourselves, I can't do this without this, or I can only do this when I'm like this, and it's like not really. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like a lot of I know a lot of like musicians who say like I can't make music without
smoking,
being high, or like something like that, which is a bit weird, but it's like that's actually not true.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying. It's like they need to take some time to get into that flow, because obviously there must have been a mad fear, but also there's almost like an element thing as well. Like some people are just so natural in an element that once they get in there, they just know how to keep it ticking. It's like I was reading like the Maradona book, and he was like alcohol, cocaine addict, and he would like be drunk all day on a Saturday, high, and then turn up on a Sunday and just be the best player. He was just able to do it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Which was weird. Like it was just like, and I realized like some people are just in their element, and some things like he's probably been at that point. He's probably done like how many, like maybe over 100,000 gigs.
Yeah.
So when he steps on that stage, he can probably find himself. And also, was he totally sober? Because he was drinking earlier.
But the few beers.
Went to jail.
Yeah, but there were only a few beers. He didn't even finish a bottle, did he?
Yeah, for real.
That's like a 5%. That's
calm. He's like, yeah. But no, I definitely get what you mean, because I did watch I watched another stand-up show. It's called I'm Dying Up Here. It's like a series, and like the girl was like her first time on the big stage. I think it showed it more better than Top 5. It was like she kind of slowly got there, but when she did, it was like
so you kind of
appreciate the journey a bit more.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
what you're saying, yeah. Because he literally just went up there and rocked it, innit?
Rocked it like he's... What? There was no fear. There was no, nothing holding you back. You didn't need alcohol. Do you know what I mean? It made it
like
look so easy.
With that scene, the issue I had with that scene as well is like, when he got there, he was like, no, I'm not going up. I would have liked to have seen like the convincing of... Yeah. Oh, yo, bro, like get on stage sort of things. And him like, that would have, again, showcased the fear a bit more.
Exactly. Totally agree with you there. There are some great cameos in this film, like comedy, hip hop, left, right, and center. For me, my favorite has to be DMX. And
that scene was so funny, fam.
Smile, which is my jam. Never heard it sang like that before, but it's now part of me, and it just lives rent free in my brain. Which one? Did you have any like favorite cameos? Did you have any favorite scenes?
I found it so funny. In his bachelor party, how Jerry Seinfeld and Adam Sandler were just in that fucking...
And Whoopi.
Whoopi Goldberg just in the flipping strip club.
As you
listening to like some fucking hood music. And then like fucking Jerry Seinfeld's on there like, yo, like she stole my wallet. She's like, where? So it's like, do I have to say? I just found it so funny that I just love those kind of like... I feel like, as you grow, so like, as you kind of grow, you kind of like expand into different areas of the world. So like, obviously, probably up until like 19, I probably was all around black people or people who was not even black people, like black people who were similar to me, grew up similar estates, all of that stuff. So like working at BT, you meet like other black people who like, some of them went to private school and some of them like into rugby and stuff like that. And then you meet different kinds of people, and then you end up growing friends with those people. And then like, it was just like in that scene how like obviously through his comedy career he's gained those friends, but then he's just put all of those people in like one environment, and then they're all there because it's like ultimately like we're all kind of the same. We all have like, so like a lot of the times that's the beauty of diversity. I think the beauty of diversity is understanding ultimately that we're all the same. So through our differences, we are the same sort of thing. And it was like, it was cool to see in that element of like, he has all his different kinds of friends. Like he's got his like professional friends, and some of them are like, this guy's a Jewish white guy who doesn't, but they're all in that scene, they're all talking about the same sort of thing. Like, don't cheat on your wife, you're going to get
prenup. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all of that stuff. And it's like, we all go through those things in life, regardless of where we come from. And it was just like a cool scene to kind of just have his like his homegrown friends, and then also like Jerry Seinfeld there. Yeah, it was cool.
That shows a lifetime of like different friendships and different friendship groups that you have, and and they all add richness to your life. Do you know what I mean? I think meeting those different people have definitely influenced him in one shape or another. So it's kind of nice to see him in that group of friends as well. With different people, you're a different person.
Yeah.
We have to code switch quite often, so it's quite sweet to see him in that. One of my favorite scenes has to be the tampon scene.
Oh, when she stuck the tampon in her boyfriend's bum. That was so jokes.
Yes, that was good karma.
That was so
right. I just couldn't stop laughing. I just thought that was so hilarious.
I couldn't stop laughing from the moment she bust the door and he was bending over. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, bro, what are you doing?
Butt's in the air.
I couldn't believe that, fam. Like, his bum is actually in the air.
Just in the air, just there waiting like that. That had me going for a bit.
Yeah, that was funny. And how like she just like what you said was so rude as well. Like, have you ever been in that scenario where it's like someone just embarrassed you?
I haven't walked in and someone's butt is in the air.
No, don't that. You know before, when they're at dinner.
Oh, yes.
And like someone's just like embarrassed you in front of people you don't know. It's like, why would you do that? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
And it's so uncalled for. And those are the sort of things that like you'll stay up at night vex as well. And then you'll vex at yourself for not pulling them up in the moment. And then it's like now it's too late to kind of like bring that back up.
Bring it up.
But you're still angry.
Because those ones are like gut checks, isn't it? It's like, you never saw it coming.
No, yes.
It's like someone pinching you underneath the arm. It's like, yo, that really hurt. But I can't really complain because it's a pinch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene was very funny. I thought like there was a lot of like just funny scenes and like just funny like dialogue. Like it's just like I feel like situational comedy is like really, it's easier to put jokes in there. So even when he was like, "Oh, we can't get another handicapped president," you run for president. You don't roll for president. Yeah. So it's just like you can just put, and obviously him being such a master writer, you can just tell like the conversations and the dialogue just flowed really well. And there's just like so many funny scenarios that they were in.
Even really dark moments, like when he sees his dad and they have that conversation, his dad asks for money. And then she's like, "Oh, who was that?" And he was like, "My dad."
My dad, yeah, that was deep, man. That was deep, yeah. And I feel like a lot of people like who come out of those environments like have like people that kind of feel entitled towards them and towards their success sort of thing.
Yes.
And that's kind of like a weird concept to deal with because I feel like everyone in their own life kind of like goes through their life and goes through their journey and no one really knows it to the extent that they know it. And it's just weird how like someone feels like, oh yeah, I should be able to, I can be rude to you and still get money from you.
That's family. Family is very entitled.
Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about was like, which I feel like is a big thing in our community was when he went back home and like after he was visiting, like his friend was like, yo, like make sure you stay black.
Yes.
Like, make sure you stay black. And also it ties into him like wanting to do the Haitian movie.
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of black people in the limelight have this complexity that they kind of have to stand for their people. Whereas like...
Do you think so? I think it's more like maybe they feel like they can't sometimes and they have to water themselves down.
Yeah. There's definitely that element to... I feel like a lot of people water themselves down to get to the top. But I feel like once they're there, like...
there's a responsibility.
There's almost a responsibility that our community puts on them. Like, I was watching an interview about Chris Rock doing a press tour about Top 5, and the point he made was like, Tom Hanks is just a great actor. We look at Tom Hanks as a great actor. But Denzel Washington is a god to us. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, he's the way we look at Denzel or Muhammad Ali or Will Smith, it's like these guys are like absolute, like,
because
icons.
They've defied all odds. They've defied all odds.
Yeah. And
that like pinnacle.
That's another thing. It's like there's not a lot of us that make it that high. So there's also that representation. But like Tom Hanks won't ever go to his old area and then be like, yo, make sure you stay white, you know. Just you know what I'm trying to say. And I feel like there is that pressure of like black people having to stand up. So like you got like Marcus Rashford now, you've got like Raheem Sterling, and I always feel like there's definitely a pressure and there's definitely a critique on black people who just do what they do. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like there was when you watched the Michael Jordan documentary,
I watched that.
There was a big critique on him not standing for black issues. And it's like, and the element to me is like, well, he just wants to play basketball. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like not everyone can be a Carla, not everyone can be Malcolm X sort of thing. And I feel like the biggest way to change is through what God has blessed you to do.
And also by taking up that space and being in that space to begin with. You know, I do agree with you because I do think, for example, what went on this year with the protesting and everything, and there was a big, like, if you weren't posting this, then you're not for the cause and you're not whatever. For me, it was like, everyone protests or does things differently. I literally am a protest. I'm here. I'm taking up space in spaces that I...
Facts, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so just because I'm not marching, or I'm not doing this, or I'm not posting every 2 minutes, don't judge me and say that I'm not, representing my people.
Yeah. It's like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole got criticised for not posting. It's like J. Cole is literally outside. It's outside marching. Kendrick Lamar's albums are always about uplifting black people. So
exactly.
It's like some people, like, again, like as you're saying, protest in their own way.
Yeah.
And like, And a lot of the times, I can't even lie. A lot of the times, I don't even want certain guys to be talking on black issue because I know they're going to mess it up.
1,000,000%. This is the other thing. Yeah.
I know that I'd rather you score a goal and have Black Lives Matter on your shirt and kiss it or something like that, rather than going on Good Morning Britain and making us all look bad. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And there's that differentiation between like having to like make a stand for your people. Because I feel like the best way you make a stand is by doing what you're best at. And I feel like that bit of the film kind of like touched on like being a role model. And I always say like the term role model is dangerous because it's like, I feel naturally you put role models on a pedestal and none of those guys are like, one thing I liked about the movie is that they put him on a pedestal, but where you see his life, you realize like, yo, this guy's struggling with alcohol addiction. He's about to enter a marriage that he doesn't really want. So there's all of those things. And it's like, you shouldn't put these people on a pedestal. Like people in celebrity culture, I feel like they should be using it as an example. It's like, okay, Michael Jordan is my example. If I want to be a basketball player, he's my example. What do I need to do? What do I need to sacrifice? But you shouldn't idolize him. Yeah. He's a human being. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
More and more nowadays, we're getting used to seeing them as humans, like humans, because of social media, because of whatever. We're getting to see them outside of the screen or on the pitch or whatever it may be. Whereas before, all you ever saw them was either in magazines or like on red carpets and like, you know, dressed in a nice
right. So it's easier to like put them on a pedestal.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas now it's like uploading to their story more often. So you get to see them more on a personal level. But then that invites familiarity, and which can be a little bit dangerous because then people
dangerous as well.
They know you like that, and then they can just like add their little 2 pence and their opinions, which is very unhelpful.
Which is definitely. Which is kind of like a weird balance you kind of got to find, isn't it? As someone in the limelight. But it was also, I just felt it was so cool how like that core of friends, like when you went back to that flat, I felt like in that movie that was him at his most peaceful.
Yeah.
Just being around it. Like he took off his jacket, like he's just talking about like his favorite rappers, and it was just around his family and friends. And you kind of need that. Like I feel like a lot of people lose that.
Yes.
The more they get on.
To have your base.
Basically, your base. Like, you know, I can go back to. They're not looking at me as this superstar celebrity comedian. They're just looking at me like, yo, like this is Andre who used to like, you get me, like who I used to beat up or something like that, or just take the mick out of. And it was good to see him like being in that element. Because I watched like a documentary, Kevin Hart, and it was like before he went on stage. I think after he went on stage, he had just killed it. I think it was like the O2. And like when he got off stage, like his boys were just boying him. And it's just like he was just like, yo, how can I
keep him humble. You got to keep him humble.
How can I ever get arrogant if these guys just take the piss out of me all day?
Yeah.
And it was just cool that he had that base and that he's always had that base. So which I think is like very important. Because you can lose yourself, innit? And it's easy to kind of get swindled into what you're doing. So like us at BT, for example, like in my team, I'm the only black person in my team. So it's like you can kind of lose your element the more you go on, because the busier you get and the more your schedule gets grueling. Yeah, it was great that he kind of went back there, and it was just to show that. I think
you kind of need it to recharge.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also, you see the essence of where the funny came from. All of his friends think they were funnier than him. Yeah. You can tell like you had to kind of be witty and stuff like that in those environments, and it was just probably that kind of like birthed his talent, which I think like a lot of the times the further we get, we come away from the essence of what made us want to do things. You know what I'm trying to say?
Exactly. One of like the things I love about this film, it's got great music. The soundtrack is one of my jams. On that, I'm going to do a quick fire. Top 5 hip hop artists. Go.
My 5, yeah?
Yeah, your 5.
All right. Nas number 1. I like Eminem, but I like Slim Shady. When I say Eminem, I don't mean the way you lie or not. I mean the real Slim Shady.
First album, Slim Shady.
Yeah, first 2 albums, Slim Shady. Then J. Cole. I like J. Cole. J. Cole to me is like vanilla ice cream, but he's the best vanilla ice cream you're ever going to have. You know what I'm trying to say? He's the best. Is
the shadiest compliment I've ever heard, but yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, because I like vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream, everyone likes it.
You can't go wrong.
He's Haagen-Dazs. He's a top quality one.
Okay. We'll go Ben and Jerry's just because they were good scores, but yeah.
Obviously Ben and Jerry. So who have I said? Nas, Eminem, J. Cole.
Eminem, J. Cole.
And then I'm gonna say Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna say Jay-Z.
Okay.
That's my five. I think that's a good five still.
That's a good five. I love not all, but I respect all of them.
Who don't you love in that list?
This may come very controversial and I'll deny it, even though there's video evidence, but like...
Are you going to say Kendrick Lamar?
No, I love Kendrick. Kendrick's my boy. Always.
Talk to me. So
my top five would be, obviously, Biggie, Puck, Nas.
You just don't want to get in hip-hop trouble. That's why you said...
No. I'll tell you why I'm going to get in trouble. I'll tell you. Biggie, Puck, Nas... Little Kim has to be in my top five. Like, I feel that. Don't disrespect my girl. And I'm going to throw a curveball in here.
Talk to me.
Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes' new album is Flames, though.
It's Flames. That new album is so hard. I would put him, and this is where it gets controversial. I would put him over Jay. I think Jay for me does.
No, you wouldn't put him over Jay.
I would put him over Jay. I would put him over Jay. I would. Because I would go if you had both of their catalogs in front of me, I would go to play first Busta's songs before I play Jay. He's got some really cool club bangers, don't get me wrong, but he's not my go-to.
What is it about Jay-Z don't like? Is it because the fact that he's so famous?
Don't twist my words now. It's not that I don't like him. Okay, don't be twisting. You'll get me in trouble. Oh, I didn't know what the Beehive and everything.
Yeah. So what? So he's not in your top five?
Nah.
You know what? I hear that, man. I hear that. But you've got enough. You know why? You've got enough solid candidates.
You know what I mean? But if I was to go and add another five, definitely Kendrick and J. Cole would be, followed after. But I don't know. I just think.
How do you judge your top five? Do you judge your top five of what you listen to the most, or do you take everything into account?
I take everything into account. I definitely lyrics, flow, clarity, bangers, a variation as well. Like, you can be conscious, but, hood.
I want to party as well. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, want to start a war, I'm there.
Yeah. Like, my honourable mentions would be DMX.
Okay, yes.
And,
so he's my hype. And anytime you play...
Yeah, that's my hype guy. If I want to ride out, driving, there's DMX. And I liked, in school, I really liked Lil Wayne. But the reason why they're not in my top five, because one thing for me I love is longevity. I like longevity. So I like the five I've picked have been going for a long time at a high level. Yeah. There's DMX after the first two albums.
I mean, he was dealing with a few things, but yeah.
Lil Wayne after the first three albums, it's like you kind of started doing rock albums and that. So like you have to...
For me, it would have been Lil Wayne, but he's wild with his mouth. So I can't back that.
So you can't support, you can't separate the art from the artist?
Mensah, I don't know if we're ready for that. That's going to go into another podcast.
That's another ep.
That's another ep. Let's just put in that one. Let's... I don't know. Cool. I'm one of those people, kind of 50-50.
I feel you.
Yeah, 50-50. What about top five comedians?
Top five comedians. Chris Rock, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, Jerry Seinfeld, and Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz like up and coming, but if it's not Andrew Schultz, I'll go Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac. I'm surprised Eddie Murphy went in that top five.
Eddie Murphy, yeah. I'm not sure,
I love how PC you're trying to be right now.
Eddie Murphy's like, he's the superstar comedian, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's so many comedians better than Eddie Murphy. Like when I look back at the specials, innit? Like I just think he was like a phenomenon. Do you know what I mean? Like he's like an absolute phenomenon. But I just feel like when it comes to like, again, longevity, like you've only done 2 specials, innit? And don't get me wrong, the specials are crazy. But I mean,
they paved the way for other people.
They definitely paved the way, 100%. But like, I just feel like when you see guys like George Carlin or like Kevin Hart, when they've done almost like 8 specials.
Are you about to say it, Kevin?
No, I'm not saying these guys are better.
No, is just specify. Is Kevin Hart funnier than Eddie Murphy?
No.
Okay.
No one's funnier than Eddie Murphy. No one's funnier than Eddie Murphy.
We were about to.
I feel like there's a difference between your talent and your craft. And like your talent is being funny, innit? Your craft is actually being a stand-up comedian. And I just feel like those guys I've named have been like working on their craft way longer now. And like Eddie Murphy, I grew up on Eddie Murphy being Dr. Dolittle. I didn't grow up on, you know what I'm saying, red leather Eddie Murphy. That's not my Eddie Murphy. So the first Eddie Murphy I was introduced is Dr. Dolittle, Nutty Professor. Okay, I had to go back and do my research.
I see. I grew up on Beverly Hills. That's what I'm saying.
So I grew up on these movies later on in his career, rather than like, if you ask my brothers, my older brothers or my mum, Eddie Murphy is like, whoa. Yeah, he's the man sort of thing. So Eddie Murphy will be my top 10, but he's like, I'm going to do what you did with the Jay-Z situation.
No. Don't try to use me as a cop-out. Or if I try to use my own words. Love that. So if you were going to direct people to YouTube to watch a clip from this film, top 5, what clip would it be and why?
Wow, that's a sick question. That's a really good question. I really like the DMX scene, but I feel like it's really good in concept with the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
I can't like the scene. I'll tell them for humor purposes only. The scene is when he's in Houston and he's in the hotel room with Cedric and Entertainer. That is the funniest piece of comedy I've seen in a film for a long time.
It was wild. Funny. It was wild. That was wild.
So wild, yeah.
So many levels.
So wild.
So disturbing.
So wild, disturbing.
I don't think I ever want to see either of them naked like that. Like that's not. No.
I was so annoyed, like when they were pillow fighting, and like the flipping thing that was just all over the room. I would be so upset. Yeah, the pillars were just like feathers and all over. I would have stopped it right then. I'm not gonna
lie. I was thinking about the cleaner in that scene. I was like, someone's gonna have to clean up all those feathers. That is so fair.
When he was just left there as well, like on the bed, I was just like, I would hate to be in that position. Man. That was and
then you had the stain as well next to him. It was
he's all crawled up, like feathers in his hair. I would have been out of there, man. But yeah, that scene was so funny. That whole thing going to Houston was funny. Yeah, do that. I'll probably say that scene. If you want to bust up laughing, I'd say that scene.
That's a hilarious scene because you don't really know what's happening.
I was thinking like this is too good to be true, and the scene was going too well. Like, where's and he just busts in the room like what?
Don't do drugs and don't drink, guys. That is what you should take away from this film, basically. That
was so funny, man. But yeah, don't say no to drugs, man.
Yeah, say no to drugs. Andrew Mensah, it's been absolutely a pleasure having you.
I've had so much fun, man. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for joining us on Black Ink Cinema podcast. I wish you the absolute best. And I can't wait to see you do your stand-up. I'm really looking forward to that. Really happy.
I want to see you soon anyway, yeah. You can literally sit behind me.
I know. And now we've been working from home for, I don't know, what is it, 8 months now?
I know, it's crazy.
Sad times.
Can't wait, yeah.
But hopefully I'll see you soon.
Hopefully when the world comes back, when we got pulled, we're put on pause at the moment, but when it's back, I'm ready to take over.
Restart.
Yeah, it should be good, man. But thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks again, Andrew.
Get your hands on a Gin and Tonic G&T box. Enter the promo code BLACKINK for an exclusive 10% discount on your order. Gym and Tonic, sustainable urban gin.